Hey, Dwight Clow here, Inner Wealth. I want to share a thought with you from Luke chapter 7. I think it's verse 13. We read these words, "Don't cry." Let me set the stage for this. In ancient times, men were, not commenting on whether this culture is good or bad, but the reality is that men were the breadwinners. They were the ones who did most of the farming, and most of the wealth was generated and held by men, and men were responsible for the women in their families. And as a result, for someone to be a widow was not only a loss of relationship and a terrible tragedy in that sense, but it was also an economic tragedy because most women had no way of supporting themselves. And so widows were indeed destitute in Bible times. Of course, if the widow had a son who was of age, then she could count on that son to provide for her. So anyway, in Luke chapter 7, Jesus is walking into a village. And as he's walking into a village, there's a funeral procession coming out. And it turns out that the funeral is for a young man, and this young man is the only child of a woman, and this woman is a widow. And Jesus walks up to her and he says to her, "Don't cry." And I'm just, I go round and round the Bible. I keep coming back to this verse. It's just, call it audacity or whatever you want to call it, but Jesus just slices through this human tragedy and gives this woman what she could not have possibly imagined. She gives him, or gives her, her son raised from the dead. And so, as I was pondering this verse, I just asked God, okay, why? Why? There are so many tragedies. There's so many people who have experienced grief and pain and loss in so many different ways. And the Lord reminds me that the show isn't over, that the whole load of God's kindness cannot be contained in this life, and that more is yet to come. So anyway, I just hope that these words from Jesus, "Don't cry," that these words are an encouragement for you. And for those of you who are Inner Wealth subscribers, we are going to be talking about how to forgive other people, how to find the grace to forgive those who have hurt us, starting this Saturday the 30th. So something to look forward to. Thanks so much. Have a super day.